This video is going to be deep. I am not going to rush this one. This is some old Uncle C, grandpa level wisdom. This is the 10 masculinity levels needed to be immune to female nature. Okay? This is the 10 masculinity levels needed to be immune to female nature. Some of you watch this channel, and the truth is you're probably just a little bit immature, so you don't necessarily understand what you have to do or the type of man that you have to be in order to not only attract the type of women that you want, but maintain interest and investment. This is why I make these videos, because for those of you where your emotions still control how you think or act when it comes to the dating decisions that you're making, that will leave you in a position where you're not happy and you're also not operating out of principle in regards to the type of man that you need to be. So that's why I make these videos. We're going to hop right in. Now, a guy in my community, he goes, "Casey's language of women is the truth. I needed some adjustments and I already see progress in less than a month." He goes, "This just makes sense." Now, these are his words. You can see that he says, "I already see progress in less than a month." That is why I made this community, was to help guys learn, understand, and master the language of women, so that way the woman that you genuinely want that relationship with, she doesn't desire to leave you. That's why I made this. I created a comprehensive system that any guy can really just copy paste into their life and go and start to use it. So after today's video is over, join us inside of that, because I know that I can help you too. So let's dive in, okay? The 10 masculinity levels. Those of you wanting a girlfriend, or those of you who are genuinely wanting a relationship with an amazing woman in your life, here's what you have to understand. You will not get it. You will not get that. That end result, that dream outcome that you want so badly, you will not get it until you master these things that I'm about to tell you. Until you internalize these masculinity principles. Number one, okay, the first thing that you have to internalize is that you need to get to a point in life as a man where you do not need anyone or any companionship or any communication in order to be happy day to day. That means every day when you wake up, you need to be grateful that the sun came up and that you're here another day. Until you get to that point where you're genuinely happy alone, you're centered in your life with who you are and your life purpose alone, until you've made yourself a man or a man of value by yourself, which means nobody's giving you a hug, good night, nobody's giving you a kiss, good morning, none of that. You're okay by yourself. Until you get to that point, it is going to be almost impossible to be the type of man that I know you want to be. So let's take this even a step further. You need to get to a point with your purpose or your career, because that's really what it comes down to. You need to find ways to look at your God-given skill set to figure out how to make your purpose into your career. Man has to become career with who he is, and I will explain why. You need to get to a point with your purpose or career to where even anybody who's communicating with you to get your time, and I don't care who it is, friends or family, you have to get to a point where anybody communicating with you, okay? You're constantly looking at that and you're filtering for priority level. Before, when you might have been lacking purpose, you're happy to have anybody reach out and contact you or call you or anything. When you actually have life purpose and career and you're going somewhere, you realize that time is limited and of the essence. Time is of the essence. Time is valuable. You put that time where it needs to be. You filter that priority level for who gets communication and who doesn't. Very simple. It's impossible to make progress in life without this. Now, all of you, and I really mean this video will probably get thousands of views. All of you who are watching this, listen to me closely. All of you need career. Career becomes identity, which becomes purpose, which ultimately you will see as a gift from God. I genuinely mean that. I want you to think of anybody that you know. That person could have some level of fame. That person could have some level of success. There's a very high chance or a very high probability that they acquired that and they got there through career. Man has to acquire purpose. Purpose evolves and can become career. Career, identity. This is a gift given to you from God. Understand that you have to seek meaning. You have to seek purpose in life. That is number one. Number two, okay, the second level of masculinity that's going to be needed is this, a very important concept. You have to get to a point where you are not attached to your cell phone. And I genuinely mean that. Most guys that I see, they are so happy when they get a notification from anybody. It's like they're glued to that cell phone just staring at it, thinking, oh, what's going to happen next? Who's going to message me next? Is she going to reply? Is she, happy? What's going on? All of this. You need to get to a point where you are not attached to your cell phone. Most men are easily controlled and manipulated simply by feelings or fear of needing companionship. They have this desire to look at the screen and think that it means something. They have this desire or this internal fear that if they don't have that person or they don't have companionship, their life will be not good. And this couldn't be further from the truth. Not only is this a total distraction, but this is just false. A woman needs to see that you are a man who is centered in who he is. And that means you're centered in who you are with or without her. If you are so easily controlled by something as simple as a notification, what does that say about your internal identity and how you view yourself? Okay? You need to remember these things. This is very important. If you can't turn that thing off for 3 days, that cell phone, if you can't just turn that thing off and leave it in your dresser drawer for 3 days and take a nap and be like, okay, I don't really need this, you're never going to be where you need to be, okay? Because you are controlled simply through the screen. It's not good. You need to build a life outside of that. Okay, so that's number two. Number three, you don't try to create or control any outcomes in life because you know and believe that God has a plan for you. I'm going to say that one more time. You don't try to create and control specific outcomes. There's most guys, right? They look at their life and they go, wow, I really need that job opportunity. Oh, I hope I get it. I'm going to do everything that I can do to control that outcome to get it. There's other guys that say, oh, I really need that relationship, that dream girlfriend. I need that so bad. And that is exactly why you don't get it. That is exactly why it's withheld from you. Because you're putting so much focus and so much drive on being outcome dependent. And that is the opposite of abundance energy. Now, when you actually understand and believe that you have purpose, you understand and believe that God has a plan for you, you let things unfold at the proper pace. You operate with a level of patience. Patience to let things play out. And that could be anything. Okay? And what that really comes down to is this. If you don't have that, ability to take a step back and say, hey, I'm patient, I believe in this plan or this purpose for me, if you don't have that, you're going to always fall to temptation. The next shiny object that comes along could be going out and partying with friends. It could be, a different woman all of a sudden. It could be any of these things. If you fall to those things, you are going to get weaker by the day. And on top of that, this is what I can tell you. If you try to control outcomes in life and you really hope to create that perfect situation or that perfect scenario, you will always fall to temptation. Because when you realize that you can't create that outcome that you wanted, you get angry, you get frustrated, you get sad, you fall to temptation and you go and lead yourself down other paths that you shouldn't have done in the first place. Very important. That is number three. Number four, okay, the fourth level of masculinity is you need to get to a point where you are fully aware of what a masculine and feminine dynamic actually looks like. See, this is what I have found to be true after years of making these videos. Most men don't actually know what a masculine to feminine dynamic looks like. And this is important at every single step of the relationship, every single step of the communication, every sentence, every word that comes out of your mouth, every text message. If you're one of these guys sitting here saying, well, I want to just chill and relax and have mutual companionship, watch how fast that turns her off. Mutual companionship and love. Mutual chemistry where we both can just do the same thing and act, however we want. That is not going to work. Listen to me very closely. You need to be fully aware of what a masculine to feminine dynamic looks like. Every date that you go on, every text message that you have with her, every phone call that you guys have, everything in that relationship needs to be centered around having proper frame of a masculine to feminine dynamic. Okay? This is very important. Now, when you create this frame, what you're going to notice is she will oftentimes be seeking your attention, your validation, or your approval. And you're leading that relationship in the best way for both of you. You need to get to a point where you actually have proper frame. Now, when this happens, if she says, why should it be this way? Why does it have to be this way? Why do you think it's best to have things this way? You say, because this is how we need to do things. You have to actually come from a standpoint of having competency. You need to be aware. You need to be aware to know that if things aren't led this way, the whole thing will dissolve. You need to actually understand the right frame and the right dynamic for both you and her to be in. And that is your job to not only demonstrate that, but make sure that that is occurring. So number 4, you have to be fully aware of what a masculine to feminine dynamic looks like. Now, point number 5, okay, your confidence is unbreakable because it is rooted in faith and not fear and ego. See, this is what happens when your confidence is rooted in fear or ego. You start to do things because you are worried about an outcome. Okay, so let me give you an example. A man with confidence that is rooted in fear and ego, any form of rejection, he starts to lower his self-worth of himself. Okay, a man with confidence, true confidence that's rooted in faith, he could have, let's say, 10 different women reject him, and he literally doesn't care. He doesn't care because it's not going to break him. He realizes the sun will come up, the sun will go down, and a new day will unfold. But if you start to let your emotions get the best of you, and you start to let that shake your confidence level, that is not where you want to be as a man. So point number 5, the 5th level of masculinity that is needed to truly start to understand female nature and be who you need to be is you need to understand that your confidence is rooted in your faith. This is why your connection to your faith is so important. I have found it impossible in my own life to claim that I have purpose without having a direction of faith that's been given to me. Do you understand how important this is? Number 6, okay, point number 6. You are able to spot unhealthy behavior and deception, and you are not scared to verbalize it. This is point number 6. You need to get to a point to where you're able to spot unhealthy behavior, and you are able to spot deception, and you are able to verbalize it. See, what you're going to find is that most men, when they are dating a woman, that man is still not leading the lifestyle. Okay? Your job as the man, if you are going to be dating a woman, is you need to be creating not only the frame and the dynamic between both of you, but you are going to need to lead the lifestyle. Okay? It's very small things that evolve into the right dynamic. So let me give you a few examples. Okay? What you're doing is you are aware of what you and her are consuming. Okay, this is everything. No, we're not going to eat this because this is unhealthy. This has too much sugar. Yes, we're going to eat this. You need to be fully aware and filter what goes through your eyes and ears so you can lead. No, we are not going to watch that show. That is bad. Instead, we are doing this. Okay? Instead, we are going to do this. You do not want to be in a passive state. You don't want to be in a passive state sitting there just like watching TV or just letting these things happen to you as you're consuming all this stuff. Your job is to lead the lifestyle. No, we're not going to listen to this music. Yes, we're going to listen to this music. No, we're not going to watch that. Yes, we're going to watch that. No, we're not going to eat that sugar. Yes, we're going to eat this instead. This is very important. Most men are not leading the proper dynamic, which is ultimately why she's not respecting you or she feels like something's missing, is because she's not properly being led to where she feels safe in that lifestyle and that environment. So you need to filter what goes through your eyes and ears so you can lead. Now, point number 7, you teach her things. This is very important. You need to be teaching the woman that you're dating different things. And this is not just things about you. This is different competency skills that you have. And I'm going to explain why. You teach her things. You need to be as close to 100% of the time spent together being used with these two things. As close to 100% of the time that is spent together with you and her, it needs to be spent either number one, being active. Okay, active. Yes, we are going golfing. Yes, we are going to go for a hike. Yes, we are going to go for a swim. Yes, we are going to go for a run. Yes, we are going to go boating. Active, outdoor, adventure, movement, active, masculine. It needs to be active, okay? That is number one. And number two, along the way, you need to be teaching her things. All of the things that you're doing that's active together, this is how you create a frame. Right? The right frame in the relationship. You as the man, you have to have competency. You know things, okay? As you know things, you show her the things that you know and you teach her how to do things so you two can do things together. This is very important. You teach her things. You teach her everything that she needs to know in order to maintain the attraction with you. Now, when you do this, you are going to notice that she starts to love you. You will notice that she starts to really like being around you because she feels very feminine, because you are leading the things that is allowing you to be masculine. You never want her to see you in a passive state. For every single minute that you spend sitting there on the couch watching TV, in that passiveness, sitting there consuming, that is a minute that you're going to notice eventually her desire goes lower and lower and lower. As the man, you need to be doing, in movement, in motion, active. That is point number 7. Point number 8. This is why faith is so important. You are teaching her what to believe in, because without that guidance, her thoughts will oftentimes just be consumed by TV. This is what you have to remember. Her thoughts, it's all of a sudden consumed by TV. What she hears from this friend, this amount of gossip, whatever the case may be. So your job as the man, you show, you demonstrate elements of faith. This is what to believe in. Okay, this is why we believe in these things. This is very, very, very important. You as a man, you have to have some element of spiritual guidance to and for yourself. So this is frame. Okay, you need to guide her with you. This is frame. So in my community, for example, let me give you an example. In my community, I took a survey, and most men I have found believe that there is definitely a spiritual component when it comes to a relationship with a man and a woman. And I will demonstrate, and I'll show you right now. So this was the exact post that I put up. I go, do you believe there is a God/spiritual element between masculine to feminine? I go, this is something not often talked about. I go, do you believe there's a spiritual element between man and woman that is needed or necessary for the proper relationship dynamic? Vote below. You can see majority of the guys voted yes. Okay? And it's not even close. Like, the yes won by a lot. So keep that in mind. You're showing, you're teaching. You say, hey, this is what I believe in. But the problem is most men, you probably don't even believe in anything in the first place. So you need to get centered in your faith. You need to get centered on your purpose, why you're here. What was God's mission and calling for you? This is the backbone of masculinity. Without this, you're going to be lost. You're going to be lost, falling to different levels of temptation and pleasure. That man right there is rooted in weakness. And she's going to feel that day by day, layer by layer. You will notice the interest test going up. You will notice her withdrawing because she might not even know why, but something to her just feels off or it feels wrong. Very important. That is number 8, okay? Now, number 9. These last 2 points you might not like to hear, but it's true. Point number 9. This is the 9th level of masculinity. You are good with money. You're good with money. Why is this important? Because eventually hypergamy kicks in and she doesn't feel safe. She goes, I've been with this guy for 6 months. Why is he still broke? I've been with this guy for 2 years. Why does he still not have his things in life together? Why is he not advancing in his career? Why is he not advancing in his purpose? Why is he doing the same thing every day? You need to get good with money. And I'm not just saying you need to be rich to have this lavish lifestyle to act like you're cool. That is the wrong type of status metrics to optimize for. That right there is rooted in insecurity because you need to show people. I'm talking this. I'm talking about you being good with money because you're just good with money and you're competent. A woman needs to see that you're smart. A woman needs to look at you and know that you have it together. That is one of the elements that shows that you know what you're doing and you know how to progress. Point number 9, listen to me closely. You might not be where you want to be today, but listen, career is important. Career is so important. As a man, purpose, career, identity, this is all tied together. All tied together. When you think of greatness, when you hear the name Michael Jordan, you think basketball, you think all-star, you think amazing. You need to create your own rooted identity in who you are and your purpose. This is so important, okay? So point number 9, you need to get good with money. Point number 10, you prioritize day-to-day strength of getting physically stronger. You need to be building your body at all times. You need to show that you're strong. She needs to see different protection markers. Like she needs to look at you and she needs to think, okay, he has muscle, he looks strong. Or he's active, he's able, he can move, he can protect me. You need to take care of your body physically. And if you do these 10 things, you will watch your dating life change for the better. So to tie it back to my original point, this is the 10 masculinity levels needed to be immune to female nature, because you're going to notice that when you demonstrate these things, female nature is easy to understand because you're not tested the same way as all of the other guys that she has tested, because she can tell like you're different. She can see that you're different because you've actually became a man. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.